Welcome back. I'm Neil Chase, author of Iron Dogs and writer-director of Spin the Wheel. And today we're going to continue our look at villain archetypes. You know, the timeless patterns that define the villains we love to hate. We'll look at what makes these archetypes unique, talk about their strengths and weaknesses, and list some examples from pop culture. And by the end of each video, you'll have a better understanding of how to use these archetypes in your stories. So today, let's look at the hero's most frustrating opponent, and the one audiences most often root for despite themselves, the trickster. So grab your popcorn, let's get started. Now, archetypes are repeating patterns found across different cultures and throughout history in the form of character types, symbols, or themes. And since they reflect key aspects of human nature, archetypes form the foundation of most literary characters. And unlike hero archetypes who represent positive human traits, villains explore the negative quantities such as jealousy, greed, or deception. And speaking of which, what makes a villain so fascinating that you can't help but cheer for them, even when they're lying through their teeth? Well, enter the trickster, the master manipulator who thrives on lies and chaos. This villain archetype uses cunning, deception, and manipulation to achieve their goals. They're not always the strongest or the most powerful, but they're always the smartest in the room. Or at least they think they are. Tricksters can blur the lines between good and evil, often operating in morally gray areas. They're both light and dark, lovable and hateful, cunning and foolish, a contradiction wrapped in charm. Often the trickster will make a deal with other characters, appealing to their needs and desires, but the price for the agreement is always higher than anyone realizes. This archetype is most often driven by greed, and usually wants something from their victims that they otherwise wouldn't be able to get by themselves. So whether they're masterminds plotting elaborate schemes or chaotic pranksters creating havoc for their own amusement, tricksters are fascinating because they break the rules of traditional villainy and make sure everyone else is playing their game. Instead of brute force, they rely on intellect, wit, and good old-fashioned lies to keep both the heroes and the audience guessing. And why do audiences love tricksters so much? Well, it's because they're fun and unpredictable. These wildcards keep us on our toes, offering surprises and twists that challenge not only the hero, but also our own expectations. They're likable even when they're up to no good. But there's more to it than that. The trickster also reflects a part of human nature we don't often admit, the desire to break free from rules and conventions. They're rebels, through and through, thriving on disrupting the status quo and forging their own path. And the courage that it takes to do that, whether right or wrong, is something we can't help but admire. At the same time, their flaws, pride, overconfidence, or recklessness, make them relatable, reminding us of our own imperfections. So let's talk about what makes the trickster such a force to be reckoned with. Tricksters are experts at weaving lies and creating illusions, making them impossible to predict. They craft elaborate schemes, convincing their enemies and allies alike that they're trustworthy, all the while hiding their true intentions. Really, is there a better example than Loki, who deceives both gods and mortals with his cunning plans, constantly keeping everyone off balance, as much for his own amusement as for personal gain? The trickster's chaotic nature also makes them exciting and keeps the hero and the audience on edge. Tricksters often change tactics on the fly, making them nearly impossible to pin down, and just as difficult to defeat. I mean, just take a look at Beetlejuice, who's wild, unpredictable, and constantly shifting the rules of the game to suit his own whims, and that adds to the story's chaotic energy. And let's face it, tricksters have got a way with words. Whether they're rallying allies or tricking their enemies, these villains can talk their way out of or into just about anything. Look at John Milton in The Devil's Advocate. He manipulates everyone around him with his suave demeanor and sharp wit, convincing others to act in his best interests rather than in their own. And under all that chaos, tricksters often have a calculated plan. They might look like they're winging it, but they're usually 5 steps ahead. Think of Kaiser Soze from The Usual Suspects. He hides his identity through an elaborate web of lies, fooling both the audience and the other characters until the very end. Of course, no one's perfect, especially not tricksters. Here's where their tricks tend to trip them up. Their belief in their own cleverness can make them underestimate their opponents. Tricksters often think they're the smartest person in the room, which blinds them to potential threats and opens them up to failure. Look at Q in Star Trek, who, while boasting an intelligence and power set that dwarfs mere humans, repeatedly underestimates his prey, leading to his plans, more often than not, falling apart. Their tendency to create chaos can also backfire, disrupting their plans. Tricksters often get so caught up in their schemes that they lose sight of the bigger picture, leaving them vulnerable. Look at the Joker in The Dark Knight. He thrives on chaos, but ultimately loses control when his unpredictable nature clashes with Batman's unwavering resolve. Tricksters also tend to burn bridges, which can make them vulnerable. Their betrayals and schemes often leave them alone when they need help the most. Rumpelstiltskin operates alone, secure in his own superiority while making deals wrapped up in riddles surrounding his own name. But his lack of company is his undoing as he talks to himself and gives away his name. And finally, their inability to commit to one side can make them untrustworthy to everyone, hero and villain alike. Tricksters often play both sides for their own benefit, which eventually isolates them from all factions. For example, look at Crowley in Good Omens. He waffles between helping and sabotaging the apocalypse, making it hard to know his true intentions. So now let's look at some other iconic and unexpected tricksters in action. Black Phillip in The Witch. This dark trickster manipulates through whispers and temptation, offering freedom at the cost of one's soul. The Riddler in The Batman. This version of the Riddler combines intelligence, deception, and chaos to challenge Gotham City and its heroes in unexpected ways. Lou in Spin the Wheel. Playing the ultimate deceiver, Lou uses charm, manipulation, and Faustian bargains to control those around him, with deadly consequences. The Cheshire Cat in Alice in Wonderland. While not overtly evil, the Cheshire Cat's cryptic guidance and topsy-turvy nature embody the trickster archetype to a T. And finally, Coyote from Native American folklore. The original trickster. Coyote's stories often explore themes of cunning, foolishness, and the unintended consequences of mischief. The trickster villain archetype thrives on deception, unpredictability, and charm, making them some of the most memorable characters in storytelling. Their strengths lie in their cunning and charisma, but their overconfidence and chaotic nature often lead to their downfall. No matter their motives or means, tricksters always keep us guessing. And that's why we love them. But hey, these are just my 2 cents. Give me yours. Let me know in the comments below who's your favorite trickster villain and why. And if you'd like to support my channel and see more content like this, please click the links below to check out my work. If you're a fan of action or horror, you'll love my novel Iron Dogs. Or if you prefer thrillers or great dialogue, then my latest film, Spin the Wheel, is out now on Tubi. And if you're looking for more unique storytelling tips to take your fiction to the next level, click that like button, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell to stay updated with the latest content. Until next time, stay creative.